Hi everybody, welcome to Sit Down. I'm DJ Sixsmith. Screwball, a brand new documentary from Billy Corben. He's here to talk about it. Billy, how are you?
Exhausted. Thank you for asking.
Our final stop here today. Appreciate you coming in.
It's my favorite stop on the tour so far.
There you go. So let's talk about the documentary. Miami has been a very special place for you, and it's just the perfect environment for this crazy story. So why does Miami fit in terms of just the screwiness of everything going on with Biogenesis, Tony Bosch, and Alex Rodriguez?
I think it's America's Casablanca. If it appears to you on the outside looking in to be this kind of lawless place where everyone and everything is for sale, that's only because it's a lawless place where everyone and everything are for sale. I think the reality very much matches the perception and vice versa. And so when you have a city that thrives on a predominantly gray market economy, gray market people fit in just fine there. So when you have a fake doctor, sorry, Tony doesn't like to be called a fake doctor.
He got his degree, but
he prefers the term unlicensed physician. Just a distinction
we're just gonna
without a difference.
Wear the coat with the doctor there.
Yeah, we use doctor air quotes when we talk about Dr. Tony Bosch. But he is a distinctly Miami character, Florida man, if you will. And this story is a quintessential only in Miami story. That's another popular phrase, only in Miami.
Yep.
You know, and there's also always a Miami connection, it seems, to every major story or scandal. From 9/11 all the way to the recent college admissions bribery scandal, to Biogenesis, which effectively ended the career of the highest paid baseball player of all time. The intriguing thing about it is Alex Rodriguez was really just collateral damage in this story. What it was really about is the highest paid baseball player of all time's career ending over a $4,000 loan between a cocaine-addicted fake doctor, unlicensed physician, and his fake tan-addicted steroid patient.
Who's just looking for some friends and a marketing job.
It's Elmore Leonard, it's Carl Hyacin, it's just, you know, it's the Coen brothers, really. It's just this bizarre story that if you were a writer and you turned this draft of your novel or script or whatever into an editor or producer, you'd be fired.
Yeah, they'd say it was too crazy.
Not too crazy. It doesn't make any sense. The motivations don't make any sense. The decisions the characters make don't make any sense. It would be a fundamentally flawed piece of literature or cinema, but for the fact that it all happened and everyone actually did these things and made these insane, illogical decisions, many of which were contradictory to their own self-interest.
Yeah. Really interesting stuff there, that's for sure. So when you think about Tony Bosch, just describe your relationship.
I often do.
You often do, I'm sure. Describe your relationship with him and just what interested you the most about him when you were starting this thing.
What interested him about me is what interests me in a lot of people when you meet them and you're kind of vetting them, so to speak, almost auditioning them to see if they'd be compelling interview subjects or documentary subjects, and he's incredibly charismatic, very funny, just affable, infectious laugh. Like you can see him sort of getting along with anyone, and you can understand how this guy. I mean, just the old saying, you could sell ice to an Eskimo. I mean, that's literally what this guy.
He would be number one on the list.
It's incredible. Like he's just the consummate salesman and so much self-confidence. He really believes in himself and believes in what he's selling, whether it's real or not, whether it's true or not. He believes it. And so when he is offering nutrition advice or giving a client a protocol as to when to take what supplements and vitamins and substances and testosterone and HGH, human growth hormone, at what time and in what doses, he knows it will work. And truth be told, he got results for his clients. When you're in a gray market business like this anti-aging clinic, these anti-aging clinics plural that he had, you don't do outdoor advertising.
No,
you don't do TV ads.
Totally
Hi, I'm fake Dr. Tony Bosch.
Come on by. We'll help you look younger.
Yeah, see, you don't really do that.
No.
So he thrived on word of mouth, which meant that his clients were getting results. That's what it meant. And so he was successful at what he did. It gave him a lot of confidence, and you get that. He exudes that when you talk to him. And you not only would say, oh, I'd love to drink with this guy or party with this guy, but you would totally take nutrition and medical advice from this guy.
Absolutely.
He sounds like he knows what he's talking about. And again, the proof's in the pudding. His clients got results, kept coming back, referred their friends and family and husbands and wives, and his business boomed in Miami. But it's only appropriate that the anti-aging business was thriving in Florida.
Yeah, good spot for that.
Yeah, when you consider that the famous story goes that Spanish explorer Ponce de Leon discovered Florida on his mythical search for the Fountain of Youth. So it all kind of
comes together.
Yeah,
and it was interesting too because when Manny's story comes into the picture, and when Manny gets dinged, you think that Bosch is going to go down with him, and he doesn't. So why didn't Bosch go down with the whole Manny thing in the same way?
Manny Ramirez pisses dirty. He fails a drug test. Tony Bosch had been treating him for some time at that point, at least a year or two. And miraculously in that time, not only did his performance turn around, but he signed an extraordinarily lucrative deal with the Dodgers. I think it was worth about, what, $40 million
like that,
just a couple of years. Amazing. And with that much at stake, it's no wonder these guys are looking for every advantage they could possibly get, especially as they get older.
Absolutely.
And near the end of their careers, they're looking to recover faster, to feel younger, to get some energy and some speed and a little force back in their hitting. And so he fails a drug test, a surprise drug test. Tony claims it's because he did not follow the protocol
to a T.
Yeah. And took a substance he shouldn't have or was supposed to, but too close to game time. And when they sprung the drug test on him, he failed. So that blew up. And they pretty quickly, the press anyway, linked it to Tony Bosch. And Tony was nervous for good reason. Rumor had it the DEA was investigating. And it seemed to be like the world was going to cave in on him until later the same day, Michael Jackson died. And then later the same day, Farrah Fawcett died.
Right, and he was back page. Yeah.
All of a sudden, all the world's media, I mean, even ESPN broke in to report the deaths of those celebrities.
And you show that in the doc,
Yeah, so you realize, like, for a moment, you're like, how does that get lost in the shuffle? Were we all just distracted by that? And apparently we were, and certainly the press was, and without that pressure from the media, they just kind of fell by the wayside, and it turned out to be the greatest publicity you could never buy. And the next thing you know, he's got a client who says to him, hey, I got a cousin who's on the Yankees, and he would love to talk to you, he'd love to meet you. And they go to a hotel in Tampa, and the door opens, and it's Alex Rodriguez.
Unreal.
And Alex says to him, to Tony Bosch, he says, the famous line from When Harry Met Sally at Katz's Deli. He says, I want whatever Manny was taking. and the rest is history. And
so you get a lot into the A-Rod story, and A-Rod approached you at one point when he was fighting with the MLB. So you are a specialist when it comes to looking at A-Rod's rise, fall, and rise again. When you think about him in the context of this story, how was he able to pull everything off?
I think it's outstanding. I really do. I think it's just an extraordinary story. I'm always interested in unique characters and extraordinary stories. And Alex Rodriguez is a unique character. Having met him and interacted with him briefly, and his story is remarkable. I mean, I say we haven't seen a resurrection like this since Jesus Christ. Happy Easter, right? And it's just an amazing feat, and it's sort of like America today. It's like we're through the looking glass. Up is down, down is up. White is black, black is white. We love A-Rod and hate Jeter.
Right.
When did that happen?
Yeah. When was that a thing?
It's the exact opposite when they were playing.
It's like Bizarro World. That's really what it is.
It's Bizarro World, but like, and I don't knock A-Rod's hustle. It's not even image rehabilitation because he was not only liked before, so it's like beyond that. It's like a whole
transformation.
It's a transformation, absolutely. And so I think it's going to be studied in PR courses, in colleges for decades to come. It's an amazing second act. It's an incredible story. He is more beloved and famous than he ever was before. And I think he has, in addition to sort of being able to kind of ignore the scandal or kind of wait it out without ever having to honestly apologize for it or come clean about what he did or didn't do or what he lied about or didn't lie about. I think he's really good at his job. Like he's really good at it, and I think it's the whole strikes me that Major League Baseball is much like America now, especially our politics. It's the WWE. And when Alex was the heel, that was a great storyline.
Right.
And he was the villain. Bud Selig was the Vince McMahon of the operation, the former commissioner of Major League Baseball. And he is the steroid commissioner. He is the man who, I believe, knowingly exploited and profited from the famous steroid era of baseball and the McGuire-Sosa home run race, which I think saved the sport and the league after the '94 players' strike. Where I know some fans who've never tuned back in, but baseball became bigger and better than ever thanks to these baseball monsters smacking balls to Guantanamo and we all knew, everybody saw their necks just like
it was clear. I mean, Bonds, McGuire, Sosa.
I mean, they were like literally ripping out of their clothes like the Incredible Hulk. And we actually morph them in the documentary.
You guys do a lot of fun stuff with that. The
McGuire
kids and I mean,
McGuire and Canseco back to back, who just like all of a sudden you're like, what the hell? They just get from skinny little rookies to these baseball monsters, and so on his way out the door, the Selig, on the eve of retirement, the biogenesis scandal erupts, and he goes to Rob Manfred, his second in command, and says, "We need to look like we're doing something about this. So go look like you're doing something about this." And so he does, but he actually does do something about it. He sends their in-house
their FBI,
investigators down to Miami, which they just make a cluster of the whole thing.
Crazy.
In fact, someone claims they actually broke the law in Florida. One of the health department investigators said that without any recourse or repercussions. And then they bust Alex, because what bigger scalp could you possibly get than one of the greatest players of all time, one of the most famous players, one of the highest paid players. So Bud Selig gets to say, as he rides off into the sunset, look, I did something about...
I took down the guy,
Did something about steroids in baseball. Now Rob Manfred ascends to the throne. He's now the commissioner of baseball. And what's the new storyline? Anybody who watches wrestling knows some of the best storylines are when you make the heel the hero.
And here we are.
So here we are.
Exactly. Well, you got a flight to catch. Why don't you tell people where they can check out Screwball?
Absolutely. It's now playing in 12 theaters around the country. And next week, next Friday, April 5th, it will be available on video on demand, so iTunes, Amazon, pay-per-view, wherever you demand video.
Awesome. Billy, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll see you next time here on The Sit Down.